Mr. Ward? Okay. All right, it is. Are you ready, Kira? Okay, no problem. It is the 4 o'clock hour. I'm going to call this regularly scheduled meeting for the Del Norte Solid Waste Management Authority to order. At this time, can we call the roll, please?
Commissioner Starkey,
I am here.
Commissioner Wright.
Here.
Chair Greeno.
I am here, thank you. At this time, please join me in pledging allegiance to our great nation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, for which it stands
One nation, God.
liberty for all.
All right. At this time, we will open up public comment. Any member of the public may address the Solid Waste Management Authority on any matter on or off the agenda. Each speaker will be allotted 3 minutes to make their comment. Is there any public comment at this time? Okay, seeing no public comment, we'll bring it back to the commission and we'll move on to our consent agenda. We have 3 items on consent. Approve the minutes for a special session Tuesday, August 19th, 2025. We have approved a request for the Crescent City Del Norte Chamber of Commerce for an authority allocated 20 cubic yard dumpster in support of the Sea Cruise this year. And we also have approved a claim payment of $10,19,8 to U.S. Bank Corp. In the amount of $7,052.06 for credit card charges described on the statement dated 8/22/25.
I'll move to approve consent.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any public comment on the consent agenda? Seeing none, we will bring it back to the board for a vote.
Commissioner Starkey.
Yes.
Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Chair Greeno.
Yes. Thank you. And we will move on to our director's report.
Thank you, Commissioner Greeno. So once again, the Del Norte Solid Waste Management Authority continues to operate the Klamath, Gasky, and Del Norte County transfer stations and to provide the required monitoring and accounting along with reports to overseeing agencies. We provide these services without any financial support from the City of Crescent City or the County of Del Norte and without receiving a penny in taxes. And the per ton rates charged at authority-managed facilities continue to be generally lower than similar charges in Humboldt and Curry counties. I would like everybody to know that we are still open to receiving applications for the public commissioner appointment. Those are due on October 10th, and we're anticipating that appointment will happen at the next authority meeting on October 21st. And those applications and additional information are available through our website at recycledelnorte.ca.gov. We did attend the Food Forest Harvest Festival last weekend. That was a good event. Kira dressed up as an ear of corn and judged the corn eating contest. September 20th is Coastal Cleanup Day, which the authority supports. Kyle Buchanan is organizing the coastal cleanup activities in the greater Crescent City area, and his email is available. And the Talawadeni Nation under Monica Heiner are organizing the cleanups in the northern part of the county, and her phone number is also available. Anybody has questions about any of the things I'm talking about, you can always call our office at 465-1100. On September 27th, that's not this Saturday, but the Saturday following, we are having our annual Household Hazardous Waste Collection event at the Del Norte County Transfer Station from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. So this is a free service available to all Del Norte County residents, but it is between 9 and 2. So it's not the full day that we're open at the transfer station. It's just the beginning part of the day. And what we found over time is the people who get there earliest tend to wait the longest in line. So if you're looking to try to sail through that operation, then I would recommend that you maybe plan on coming between 10 and noon. Generally pretty smooth sailing at that point. Also, it's a good time to remind everyone that the most common household hazardous wastes we accept every day at the Del Norte County Transfer Station, including used motor oil, oil filters, antifreeze, non-aerosol paints, stains, and water seals, um, household fats, oils, and greases, televisions and computer monitors, household batteries, home-generated sharps. I think that's the list. So once again, we encourage people to bring those materials to us every day rather than many people still think of the household hazardous waste event as the paint day because that's what a lot of people used to bring. But now we take those materials every single day. So no need to wait for the household hazardous waste event to bring those in. In fact, that is absolutely the most expensive way we can possibly deal with them because it costs us between $75 and $150 a car to process those materials through the household hazardous waste event. But we take those paint materials every day. So again, encourage you to take care of to take advantage of our daily services. But this is for all of the pool chemicals and the solvents and the oven cleaners and the toilet bowl cleaners and the things, pesticides, herbicides, solvents, all of those things. This is the day for those materials. So that's September 27th from 9 to 2. And if you're a commercial business, we ask that you call and make an appointment because we take those materials the Friday before. So that's September 19th. But commercial businesses will need to call 916-351-0980 to make an appointment beforehand. So continuing on to other things that we may not be discussing later in the meeting. So I'm just covering sort of the business that we've been up to. We just had a meeting earlier today with Dave Mason and Andrew Butcher talking about how we might be able to improve the security plans and equipment we have at the Del Norte County Transfer Station. And so our plan at this point is to develop 4 options for the board's consideration. 1, status quo, what we've got going there currently, and then 3 additional options of increasing security and expense. And then we can navigate from there about what we might want to do to make the facility a little bit more secure. Looking at on Wednesday, September 24th, we are having our scale recertified. So that's something I appreciate Kira coordinating. But essentially, we have a scale company come out of Shasta and recalibrate our scales, and we coordinate with weights and measures to make sure that that happens on a regular basis. Looking at contractors, we are continuing to search for a new legal counsel as Bob Black has announced his impending retirement. And we have proceeded along the search and essentially concluded that it is unlikely we're going to find a firm in either Del Norte or Humboldt counties that are going to meet our needs. And that creates its own challenges because, of course, sometimes it'd be really nice to have a body in the room as we're having these discussions. And so that becomes a necessary element that we'll be looking at in the contract, because I want everybody to know how much it costs to get the attorney in the room before we have to make those decisions. But my inclination is to have in there in the contract, which we are in the process of negotiating, a retainer that includes a presumed number of meetings. So the presumption is there are several meetings that the attorney shows up to, and it's not always a Zoom Teams situation, because I feel like that's the representation that the board needs. But it's going to be a challenge because there aren't any attorneys that are local that are going to be able to meet these service needs of the agency. And also, it's important to recognize that we need a separate legal counsel than either the city or the county use, because occasionally there can be circumstances in which the city's interest or the county's interest can be different than that of interest of the JPA. So it's appropriate that we have different legal counsels so that should there be such a dispute, we're not scrambling to find a legal counsel to explain to the legal counsel how they should be defending our interests.
Ted, I have a quick question.
Sure.
How many times in the past, I mean, since I've been on the board, maybe 9 years, that's as long as you've known me, have we had these disputes? I don't remember there being anything that has come to pass,
There
at least
have
in the
not
time
been-
that I've been on the board.
There have not been very many. I can't even think of one, but I acknowledge that there could be.
There absolutely could be. So.
And so some of the attorneys that we've talked to, for example, will say represent the county with regards to labor disputes sometimes, and then they express lots of hesitation about working with us because if there's and that's appropriate. because the
Okay.
legal counsel should represent the interest of their clients, and sometimes that we don't want those conflicts to become an issue.
That's understandable.
So we do have a former county council that still lives locally that is working for Humboldt County. Perhaps that might, do you anticipate a conflict for that?
I welcome all names.
I will
We're-
send his name your way.
Excellent. So continuing on about other things that are not currently on the agenda. So in collection staff are continuing to discussions with Recology Del Norte, and we anticipate we'll bring forth a change order adjusting the list of materials in our recycling programs and the outreach that will follow from that. Glad to say that Assistant Director Seymour and Michael McClellan have procured new phones that have greater reach to the outlying transfer stations at Gasky and Klamath. And since those are single person operations, those communications become really important safety measures for all of us, because we want to make sure that everybody ends the day as safely as they started. So communications are pretty critical there, and I really appreciate them diving into the weeds about what kind of phone might give us some kind of coverage. And we have confirmed that we do have text coverage in Klamath, and in the Klamath transfer station, it's kind of in a little hollow, and so we've had real trouble with communications. And on a practical basis, I mean, if they need to communicate, they need to communicate, which means that if they don't have reception, they need to close the facility, go to where they have reception, and then make a phone call, which is potentially very inconvenient for our customers. So we're trying to avoid those situations. So I really appreciate the extra effort getting new phones.
So, quick question on that. If they're having problems with cell coverage, is a landline an option?
No,
where
it's
they're
not.
at?
We don't have any landline connections or power or water at either the Gasky or the or the Klamath transfer station. And we had briefly explored the expenses, but they are large.
Okay.
Because especially for the Klamath station, it's a long run. There isn't anything else that has coverage out there very close. Continuing on, let's see, I'll be giving an update about some of the community meetings we've been having, but probably the biggest news on that front is these community meetings have been essentially supported under a grant from Cal Recycle, the OWR4 grant. And that grant was set to expire in April. And thankfully, I'm very grateful that Cal Recycle has extended that grant term to November 2026. So that'll give us a little bit more breathing room to try to develop a good program. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, or I can move on.
Looks like there aren't any.
Okay,
ahead.
moving on. So you see the attachments for both the Household Hazardous Waste Day and the Coastal Cleanup on September 20th.
Can I get a color copy of the hazardous waste?
I-
Or
Of the hazardous waste one?
is it just black and white or?
No,
is
no.
it-
We do have a color copy. I'd be happy to send you.
Thank you, because I like to post that information on social media.
Okay.
And the black and white just doesn't
Also,
pop.
it's in our published agenda, so you can actually go to that page and print it out.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Just
I
to let
just
you
got
know.
it, the one that you sent me online, and the agenda online is
It
in
was
black and
just
white.
scanned. Yeah. So we'll give
Understood.
you an
I'll
electronic
get you a color
copy.
one.
Thank you. Sorry to be picky.
No, I appreciate the additional outreach. Thank you. All right. So moving on to the financials. We do not have the cash flow because that comes out of the county, and next month is July. And so as July is due, but that's the end of the fiscal year. And we all know the county is shifted over to the new ERP system. So we expect that will probably be associated with delays. We may not see the July month for some time. But looking at the AR aging summary, you can see that the accounts receivable are being tracked pretty closely by good services of Kathy Brewer, and the only account that's over 90 days has already been sent to collection. Looking at claims approved by director on item 2.3, you can see once again our largest expense were to Hambro WSG for the good services they provide at the Del Norte County Transfer Station, and our second largest expense was to Recology for essentially emptying the bins at Klamath. We anticipate some additional charges are being delayed through the ERP system, including the interfund cost plan and some of the other regular charges to the county. For some reason, they have not yet started accumulating. So I anticipate once they do start sitting our monthly bills, we may see several backlog charges for those. Continuing on the financials, item 2.4, you can see that income is starting to dwindle for the end of the summer. We're a little bit down from where we were last year on item 2.5. Oh, that was a handout. Did they get those? Okay. So the authority revenue report, unfortunately, was not in the initial agenda. We didn't have the full information, and unfortunately, still didn't have the information from Recology, but we anticipate that the franchise fees are about what they were last month. So on the whole, at this point in the fiscal year, 2 months in, we're a little over 43,000 ahead of budget. So again, this as the basic fiscal report, if our two major sources of income are coming in at or ahead of budget, and our other expenses have balanced out, then you know that the budget's in good shape. So that's where we're at. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Director Ward. Are there any questions on the financials? All right.
Okay. So now let's see if we can bring Will Folger in. Okay, Will, are you there?
We're now moving on to 6.1, discussion and possible action of the memorandum of understanding between Del Norte Solid Waste Management Authority and SEIU 102, July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028.
Oh, there he was. It's a real quick conversation. There he is.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can.
All
Welcome.
right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me here. My name is Will Folger. As you know, I've been assisting Ted with the bargaining process with your local SEIU unit there with your organization. And what we have for you here today is pretty straightforward. We were able to reach agreement with your rather small bargaining unit there that represents most of the employees working in your organization. We began this process at the beginning of July, on July 1st. We had 3 formal meetings and a couple of conversations between myself and Ted in the interim time. But 3 formal bargaining sessions, and on the 3rd session, we were able to sign a tentative agreement package, which was then presented in closed session for general discussion on the 18th. And we were basically at the point where we felt that we had an acceptable deal on both sides. They likewise presented it to their membership after that meeting as well. And that's what we're doing here today, is to present to you the full MOU that incorporates the agreed to changes that we signed in that full package TA. That among other things, I'll just touch on the big piece here, which is this is a 3-year agreement that runs from the 1st of July of this year, 2025, through June 30th of 2028. So that's a nice long time. And we addressed a lot of sort of housekeeping issues within the MOU as it existed, tried to align it within your local labor market with some of the just labor market competitors that you have, but also the agencies that belong to the JPA, that, you know, the chief among them being the city of Crescent City and the county. Trying to align language with benefits and some common aspects of these agreements so that they read similarly to other local jurisdictions. And that went fairly well. It was a very, very positive interaction. Every time we met, you guys have a great group of employees there, and they were very, very easy to work with. And so the 3-year agreement agrees to an increase retroactively placed at the beginning of this fiscal year. So at 7/1/2025. Like I said, there's some other adjustments that have occurred And the other one to tap on here is the reopener clause. As you're aware, there's negotiations continuing with the county, and we felt it prudent to hold off on further discussions related to future increases until we were aware of what had occurred there. Because historically speaking, that's what has driven a lot of the JPA's ability to pay and reach agreement on future wage items. So once that happens, we'll have a reopener, but it's isolated. Any negotiation is isolated only to future COLA wage increases. Every other element has been agreed to and will remain static. So with that, Ted, please let me know if I'm missing anything that they need to know about. But what we have here is the full MOU with those incorporated changes. We're seeking authorization to execute this agreement and have it ratified so it can be adopted.
All right. Thank you,
I'm
Mr.
here
Folger.
for any questions. Thank you.
Are there any questions?
I do have one, and it's just because I haven't been part of this discussion. Was there any consideration of providing an increment raise, a cost of living raise, the 5% for the other 2 years, or are you wanting to just wait to see what the county does based on their comp analysis report that we just got?
Great question. Yeah, so let me clarify. What we have agreed to in the reopener, it contemplates future, that exists in order for us to give future increases, but not to speculate on what they need to be right now, given that the county had just given their 5% to their SEIU unit. I believe it went into effect in July, and it was for a 6-month extension of their contract. What we did was mirror that, because that was common in practice for your organization in regard to your bargaining unit, is to try to not exactly mirror necessarily, because it's not something that you must do, but it's been a practice that has been well accepted, that you try to remain close within your local labor market and what is being offered to other similar positions elsewhere. In this case, the big driver here is the county.
Okay.
So because that short 6-month extension was approved with the 5%, we matched that 5% to go into effect at, I believe, roughly the same time, if not the exact same time, while leaving the door open for us to continue bargaining on other important items to this unit, get those done without having to contemplate the overarching COLA and wage structure that would happen over the rest of the 2 years. So what this does is, once they got the 5%, or they will, once this is adopted, get a 5% retroactive to 7/1. But it allows us to implement the other items that were agreed to while we wait for the county to see what is going on there, and what is agreed to there, so that we can have an informed decision as to what we would like to offer for wage increases for the following 2 years of this agreement, without having to speculate as to the length of the term or negotiate on the term of the agreement, because both sides agreed that 3 years was of value. And so that you could focus on other things in the intervening 3 years. So that's my long-winded way of breaking
no,
that down a bit more. But we did talk about it. Yes, in negotiations, future wage increases were brought up, but the constraining factor was we didn't know. We didn't have a whole lot of information that we would typically rely on to decide what was appropriate, i.e., what has the county been giving. We're going to now wrap everything else up, got it done, and now we can wait. Now we can implement everything else, wait and see what the county does, and then reopen that article only and begin and decide how we want to implement the following 2 years of wage increases, to see if using the county's structure as a basis for the discussion.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that the county's going to have a specific structure, but we're going to try. And I just want to make a comment that with regard to the changes in the MOU, I really, really appreciated the red highlights. Oftentimes, I'm trying to have to look at the both contracts to see what changed. So this made it very convenient for me to get up to speed. So I just wanted to say that I was grateful for whoever put that together.
All right. Thank you for answering that question. Any more questions from the commission? All right, seeing none, we'll open up public comment on the MOU. Any comments on the MOU from the public? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the commission for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve this contract with SEIU 1021.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Could you please pull the vote?
Commissioner Starkey?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Chair Greeno?
Yes, thank you. And I'd like to thank Mr. Folger as well as Director Ward and the negotiation team from SEIU for bringing this to us and for the work that they put into it. We really appreciate your time.
Yep, I agree. Thank you. Thanks, Will. Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you all
And
very
thanks
much.
to the negotiating team. It was all very positive interactions, and I really appreciate everybody's attitude towards trying to make this a workable agency where everybody feels appreciated, respected, and they have all of their safety concerns addressed.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
All right.
Thank you.
With that, we will move on to 6.2, a status report, discussion and possible action regarding the community meetings discussing alternatives to SB 1383 compliance strategies for food waste reduction, food rescue and redistribution, organics management, and mulching and composting.
So these are community meetings. I'm just giving you all an update or an opportunity to have a little deeper conversation about this. But these meetings have typically gone 2.5 hours. Great participation. I really appreciate the Donatal Food Council folks for organizing them. I think they're doing a super job organizing the meetings. Also appreciate Mary Pitto, who's provided technical assistance and support. We are now, we've got 4 meetings under our belt, and we have added 2 additional meetings to the original 6 planned to address food rescue and redistribution, because early in the conversation, it became pretty clear the people who are focused on food rescue had a lot of experience, and they were all about food, and talking about mulching was not their issue. Similarly, talking about food rescue, the people who are interested in mulching, not their issue. So better to separate those groups and try to work out how we can address each of those concerns separately. So that's more or less what we've been doing. The next meeting is set for October 20th. Everybody's welcome. If you want more background or information on that, I'd be happy to develop it and to share that with you. But essentially, we've gone through a lot of the preliminary meetings, and now we're coming into the point of looking at what our options are and providing additional guidance. And so because all of these things have potential expenses, that's a lot of the technical assistance that we're looking at. We're also working with the Rural County Representatives of California Environmental Services Joint Powers Authority, as we are trying to develop what we call a greenhouse gas calculator as we're making these programmatic decisions to try to reduce our greenhouse gas impacts. At some point, sending another truck down the road and building another facility doesn't reduce greenhouse gases. It actually increases them. And so it'd be useful to have some kind of tool to say, all right, if we're considering this, is it really going to help the objective we're trying to reach? And so that's the purpose of the tool. It's in the early stages of development, but we are partnering with some of our other rural county partners to try to pool our resources and again use that ESJPA as a way to do things that otherwise we couldn't do alone. So I actually really am kind of excited about that, but early stages. And once again, the extension to November will really help that. So that's kind of an overview. I'd be happy to answer any questions or to dive into deeper details if you have any interest.
All right, any questions?
I really appreciate the fact that the minutes of this, I felt like I was there. So I'm so thrilled with that. I've lost track of APR SB 1383. I don't even know the name of it anymore. So the fact that these minutes were so detailed and who talked and what they were talking about, I really felt that I was there. So thank you for whoever put those together.
Right. That's the good work of the Donato Food Council. All right.
Any further questions? Nope. All right. Thank you, Ted.
Okay.
We'll move on to 6.3, discussion possible dissemination of invitation to the bid documents to obtain prices for a new Toyota Tacoma TRD Sport Hybrid light duty pickup.
So I really want to appreciate Michael McClellan, who's put together all this information. And there was in the back of this, you'll see some of the comparison tables. It really did kind of a deep dive into what vehicle might best serve the agency's needs. And since
Ted,
we have,
I'm sorry to interrupt. I forgot to do public comment on that
Oh,
last item.
fair enough.
Is there any public comment on 6.2 concerning SB 1383? Okay, seeing none. I apologize, Ted. I just wanted to.
Details are
Make
important.
sure.
No worries. Thank you, sir. Okay, so back to so bottom line is we've detailed out, thanks to Michael, the exact vehicle that we want, and now we're just looking for the best price. So at the back of that packet, you'll see the 6 different entities that we plan on mailing this to, and whatever is the best price to deliver it. No? Oh, fair enough. Okay. So staff are just looking for permission to release these bid documents. To be clear, we're not making a purchase at this time. We will return to the board indicating which vehicle is available for what price from which vendor, and that will be the point of decision. So at this point, we're just getting permission to release the invitation to bid document.
I will make that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any public comment on this item? Yeah, that's at the beginning of the meeting. Ted and I were discussing this, and that's exactly the words that came out of my mouth. Long overdue for sure. So, all right. With that, any public comment besides yours? All right, bring it back to the board for a vote. Thank you.
Commissioner Starkey?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Chair Greeno?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, we have reached the end of our agenda. Any comments from the commission for the good of the order? No? All right. With that, we will adjourn until our next regularly scheduled meeting, 4 o'clock on October 21st, 2025, right here.
Public applications for the public member are available through the website, and we're hoping for that appointment to happen on the October 21st meeting.